You sit on a court of appeals which does allow cameras in the court, and from all indications, your experience with it has not been negative. In fact, I understand it's been somewhat positive. So, how would you feel about allowing cameras in the Supreme Court where the country would have a chance to view discussions and arguments about the most important issues that the Supreme Court decides with respect to our Constitution, our rights, and our future?
I have had positive experiences with cameras when I have been asked to join experiments of using cameras in the courtroom. I have participated. I have volunteered. Perhaps it would be useful if I explained to you my approach to collegiality on a court. It is my practice when I enter a new enterprise, whether it's on a court or in my private practice or when I was a prosecutor, to experience what those courts were doing or those individuals doing that job were doing, understand and listen to the arguments of my colleagues about why certain practices were necessary or helpful, or why certain practices shouldn't be done or new procedures tried, and then spend my time trying to convince them. But I wouldn't try to come in with prejudgments so that they thought that I was unwilling to engage in a conversation with them or unwilling to listen to their views. I go in and I try to share my experiences, to share my thoughts, and to be collegial and come to a conclusion together. And I can assure you that if this august body gives me the privilege of becoming a justice of the Supreme Court, that I will follow that practice with respect to all issues of procedure on the court, including the question of cameras in the courtroom.
No, I appreciate the fact that if you can't convince them, it won't happen. But how do you feel? How do you feel about permitting cameras in the Supreme Court, recognizing that, you cannot decree it by fiat?
I'm pretty
Do you think it's a good idea?
I'm a pretty good litigator. I was a really good litigator, and I know that when I've worked hard at trying to convince my colleagues of something after listening to them, they'll often try it for a while. I mean, we'll have to talk together. We'll have to figure out that issue together.
Okay.
I would be, again, if I was fortunate enough to be confirmed, a new voice in the discussion. And new voices often see things and talk about them and consider taking new approaches.